All right, good afternoon. I am having some technical difficulties, so I apologize for being a couple of minutes late. I've resorted to doing today's episode on my phone, so hopefully the quality is okay, but happy Monday. Thank you so much for joining me today for this week's episode of the Martinez Law Legal Lounge. I am Kristen Martinez. I founded my law firm, Martinez Law, back in 2015 to be a full-service real estate law firm where our goal is to serve the real estate professionals and the real estate community, and really to help you stay out of the courtroom and to help your clients stay out of the courtroom. And so one way we are able to accomplish this goal is through education. So one of my passions is educating the community, educating real estate professionals, and one tool that I use to do that are these weekly Legal Lounge sessions. And so the purpose of these sessions is for you to ask me your questions, and I will answer those live for you. To the extent I don't get any questions, which is not because you don't have them, it's because you're being shy or you don't feel comfortable asking them. I do have some questions that are submitted to me throughout the week that I save and I address on the weekly Legal Lounge episodes. And so I will be doing that, but if you are joining us this afternoon, go ahead and put those questions in the comments for us. I will be addressing those live very shortly. Also, if you don't have any questions, but you're here, go ahead and check in the comments. Let us know you're here. I would love to acknowledge you and thank you for joining us today. But before we get started, I just wanted to give you a couple of announcements and some exciting things that are going on with our firm. The first one, if you've been following our social media, you know that we are moving. So we have secured a new office space. Bethany, hello. Thank you so much for checking in. We have secured a new office space. We are very excited about it. We are not moving far. We will be moving over to Lutz. Right now we're located in Wesley Chapel, so just down the street, but we're very excited for that. Renovations on the new office are set to start August 1st. We hope to be in sometime during the month of September, but we are very excited about the new office. So that was announced, I think, last week, but we will be revealing the exact location very soon, so stay tuned for that. Also, our next episode or our next event for the Get Real with Attorney Martinez will be next Wednesday, August 4th at 10:30. This will be by Zoom only. We are not offering an in-person option for next month's event. That is because I will be in California, lawyering from California next week. And so we will continue to offer the in-person options. That just won't be an option for next week's event. Anyhow, you don't want to miss it. The topic will be all about neighbors, neighbor disputes, neighbors driving you crazy. We'll discuss easements, we'll discuss nuisance laws, and we will discuss trespassing issues. And so make sure you tune in to the Get Real event. If you need the link or if you need help registering, feel free to shoot us a direct message or to call the office. We'd be happy to do that for you. We will also be offering a Community Association Board Member Certification class. Attorney Tiffany Love will be hosting and teaching that class. That is this Wednesday, July 28th at our office at 6:30 p.m. You can RSVP to that by calling into our office or shooting us an email, and we'd be happy to get you signed up for that. That's going to be a great class, so make sure that you RSVP for that one. Again, if you are joining us today, Charmaine, hello, thank you so much. Happy Monday, thanks for joining us. If you are tuning in today, make sure to say hello in the comments. If you have questions, make sure to include those in the comments as well. I will be answering those live very shortly. I will actually go ahead and formally open it up to questions and answers, so go ahead and submit those questions to me. I would love to answer your questions. And as the week goes through, just on a Post-it note or a sticky note, jot down your questions, email your questions to me, post your questions to any one of our social media pages. I monitor all of that. I have a team member that monitors all of that, and she will make sure that I get those questions, and I will absolutely address them on the next week's Legal Lounge episode. So make sure to submit those to us. I'm not seeing any questions right now. I wanted to go ahead and address two different topics. Number one, I actually did a short Instagram live video last week on this. I posted the results of one of our hearings. We obtained a judgment in favor of our client, a landlord, for unpaid rent by a tenant who we had previously evicted. And there was some discussion in the comments about, what do you do once you get the final judgment? What if the tenant doesn't pay it? What resources or recourse do you have to force a tenant to pay a judgment? I did address it very briefly in a video last week, but I wanted to spend a little bit more time because it is a very big consideration in all types of cases that we handle here in all of our real estate matters, and it is kind of an ongoing, very frequent discussion that I have with my clients because, getting that final judgment, getting the piece of paper from the court that says I'm the winner, I won, means nothing if it doesn't get paid. It's a piece of paper is all it is. And so obviously the end goal is to make sure that it is actually paid. At the beginning of cases, sometimes I do have clients that say, I don't care about the money. I just want to show them that what they did was wrong and they can't be doing this to people in the future. So the piece of paper will be enough for me. That will make me happy. That's great. Sometimes we do pursue cases based on principle only, if that's what the client wants and I've educated them and they're sure that that's what they want. But for the vast majority of people, they want their money. And so what we do is prior to taking on a case or prior to actually filing a lawsuit, I have a discussion with the client about these issues. We gather all of the information that we have at that point about the tenant or about the person we're suing, because this applies to all cases that we do. What information do we have about their employment status, about what assets they may own? Do they own any real property? Have they recently inherited any assets? Are they about to inherit assets? We can also run a background search on them to pull up things like employment history, bank accounts, certain assets, not all, definitely real property. So that is a big part of our research and our kind of homework that we do on the front end to make sure that this thing is even worth pursuing in the first place. Before the client spends any money on pursuing a case, we need to make sure it's going to be worth it. It is not a guarantee. Of course, somebody can spend all their money between the time we do our research and the time we get the final judgment, but it gives us a pretty good outlook or overview of a person's financial status. So we use that information to decide, is this worth the client's money to pursue? And then on the back end, so once we've gone through the process, we have our final judgment. In every single case, in every single real estate case, when you get a final judgment, the law requires that the defendant, the person you sued, provide what's called a fact information sheet within 45 days of that final judgment being entered. And what a fact information sheet is it is basically a questionnaire that the defendant has to fill out, and they have to provide several attachments. And it goes through all of their assets, all of their financial history, their current financial picture, employment status, their spouse's finances. They have to attach bank statements and pay stubs and tax returns. And so that is really a good, accurate, and current picture of what their finances look like. If they do not pay the judgment, we then can take that information to garnish wages from their employer if they're employed. We can garnish bank accounts. If they have any money in any bank accounts, we can garnish up to 25% of whatever amount is sitting in the account. We can also seize assets such as vehicles or expensive jewelry or expensive china if you wanted to get that detailed with it. So there are a lot of options. Additionally, judgments don't go away for a very, very, very long time. And so as this person acquires new assets in the future, your judgment is going to continue to follow them around, and you can collect on that judgment at any time. So those are some things to think about. Finally, what we do is with every single judgment, we record it in the county where the judgment was entered. We also record it in all other counties where the person is believed to have assets or real property. That way, the judgment will act as a lien on the real property in that county, and the person can't sell that property without paying your judgment first. So it may not be automatic payment or as fast as you'd like, but there are a lot of things that we can do to make sure that a judgment is paid. So I know that was a lot. If you would like to discuss that more, or you have specific questions on that topic, I would love to discuss it with you. You can put additional questions in the comments, or you can give our office a call to schedule a consultation at any time. Thank you for those of you who have joined in the meantime. Again, if you are here, please say hello in the comments. Please go ahead and put your questions in the comments, and I will answer those live. We do have a question from Brad. Thank you so much. He states, I have a friend that got screwed by Olympus Pools. Is it worth pursuing under $5,000? There are a lot of people in the same situation that your friend is in, unfortunately, with the whole Olympus Pools fiasco, I'll call it. So it is a very great question. Thank you for submitting it. It is a very timely question. There are several considerations here. The two biggest ones are going to be, number one, the dollar amount that they're going after. And number two, you're going after an entity that probably has little to no assets. They're hurting very badly right now. They've lost their license, and so they have no potential to go out and make income in the future, or at least not the very near future. And so on this one, I would probably lean toward it's not worth it, at least if you're going to go through an attorney. So under $5,000, that would put you in small claims court. There are several different forms and resources available for people who want to represent themselves in small claims court. That's what it was created for and designed for, or for people to file lawsuits on their own without using attorneys. That is because these are usually dollar amounts that it doesn't make sense to pay an attorney to pursue for you, because the amount that you pay the attorney may equal or exceed the amount you're asking for in the first place. And so if the person is considering pursuing this through an attorney, I would say it's probably not worth it, given the low dollar amount when you're considering what attorneys cost. $5,000 or just under $5,000 is not a small amount of money, but when you look at the cost of our court system and the cost of attorneys to get you the result that you deserve, it will be eaten up pretty quickly. Also, given the status of Olympus Pools right now, unless there is some way that we can get to the individuals behind the entity, I obviously don't know the facts of this case, so I can't advise on that right now, but given what I know about their status, this is probably going to be one that I would recommend cut your losses. However, if this is something that your friend or whoever it is you're referring to is maybe wanting to pursue on their own without an attorney, it can't hurt. I am assuming there is not a contract with an attorney's fees provision. If there is, it could hurt, because if you file the lawsuit and you lose, you could be on the hook for their attorney's fees. That's the only downside to pursuing this on your own. Again, there are a lot of different resources. Wherever the county is that the property is located, you'd want to go to that county's clerk of court website, and that is the county website that will have the forms that you would need to file the small claims. So Brad followed up. He paid the lien from the contractors. It's $3,800. Not the end of the world. The pool was actually finished. So given the circumstances, pull the form from the website, go ahead and file your small claims action if your friend has the time and the inclination to do so. Can't hurt, but from what it looks like in this situation, your friend's not facing foreclosure. They did get the pool finished, which is a great thing and is a better position than a lot of people were left in. So in my opinion, not worth pursuing through an attorney. If it's something they're willing to take on and tackle on their own, or pro se, as we call it in the legal world, that may be something that is worth their while. So kind of a personal decision there on whether they want to pursue that. Thanks so much for the question. That was a great one. If you are here watching this afternoon, make sure to say hello in the comments. I would love to acknowledge you. If you have questions, of course, put those in the comments for me as well. Not seeing any others at the moment, I will go ahead and just briefly mention an update on the eviction moratorium. Received actually several questions on this in the past week. So I I wanted to briefly mention that. It was extended again at the end of June for another 30 days. It is scheduled to expire in July. If it is not extended, it's been scheduled to expire at the end of the month for the past who knows how many months, and they have extended it every single time. I'm not here to give predictions on what I think they are going to do as far as that's concerned. I think we're nearing the end. I'm just not sure if we're there yet. But I wanted to address big misconceptions with the moratorium. It does not prevent all evictions. In fact, most evictions are allowed to move forward even with the moratorium in place. The moratorium only prevents evictions if the reason for the eviction is non-payment of rent. So any other reason is not affected by the moratorium. Additionally, the moratorium only prevents an eviction if the tenant qualifies based on the requirements listed in that moratorium order. Some of those requirements are that the tenant has paid partial rent up to their financial ability to do so, that the tenant has applied for government assistance with rent, that the tenant has suffered some sort of adverse effect from COVID on their finances. So that could be loss of job, reduction in wage, medical bills from a COVID-related illness, those sorts of things. That the tenant would likely be homeless or have to live in some sort of group living or group housing if they were evicted. A tenant would have to sign under oath and file an affidavit attesting to all of these things in order for the moratorium to apply. So when we look at the majority of the evictions, they do not fall under the moratorium, and the tenants do not comply with all of the requirements present in that moratorium order. So just wanted to dispel some misconceptions that a lot of folks have out there about the moratorium. If you think you have a tenant that you would like to evict, whether it's for non-payment of rent or any other reason, reach out to us. We'll tell you whether we can proceed with it or whether we can't, and it is barred by the moratorium. So reach out to us and we'd be happy to discuss that with you. Not seeing any other questions, we will go ahead and wrap it up for today. Thank you all for bearing with me on the technical difficulties that we had earlier, but thank you all for coming. Thank you for the great questions. We will actually not be having a legal lounge next Monday. I will be traveling, so I will not be able to jump on for our weekly live episodes, but we will be back the following Monday at 12 o'clock on Facebook Live. So we will send out and invite you all to the Facebook event for that, so you have it on your calendars. Otherwise, go ahead and submit your questions to me in the meantime as they come up. I will address them 2 weeks from today, 12 o'clock here on Facebook Live. Please don't forget to like and share this video as well. It may help somebody else. They may have a question that we've addressed in today's episode. So thank you all for coming. Have a great rest of your Monday and great rest of your week. I will see you in 2 weeks. Thank you so much.